Here is Manami's little quilled mouse. Isn't he great? This was given to me by Manami a little while ago, well, a long time ago. And I thought he would make a super subject for the Quilling Guild's first Zoom meetup. We had a terrific time talking about the various coils that were needed to make him. Nearly all solid coils. So we started with the body, and believe it or not, look at all these different ways you could make that body. All different, and lots of input from everybody. It was really good. And that the way you roll, of course, depends on, do you want a super smooth effect like this iced bun, or do you want the other extreme, want ridges which look really, really good on this box lid, or on this cupcake, which somebody pointed out looked rather like an ice cream. So I'm off to quill an ice cream before too long. Then we moved on to noses. So Manami made her mouse nose out of a little black cup coil like that. But there are various other ways. This little chap has got a bead for his nose. Beads are very useful, and especially coated in glue, so that's shiny, that gives a good effect for your model. Because you could start off your body coil with pink before you begin to roll, and then put it into a nose at the end, like this guy has got. He's also got highlights in his eyes that were put on with Tipex or whiteout or something like that. And that's quite important. Eyes with highlights look really good. If you want to be perfectionist about it and only use quilling, then of course they can be quilled. My favourite way of making an eye with a highlight. And that's quite important because your quilled creature can look in the direction that you want it to look. Who's he looking at? He's looking at dinner, and dinner is looking back at him. And that depends all on where you put the highlight. And then we went on to talk about the spectacles that Manami's delightful little mouse is wearing, and what you might use to make ring coils, all the various ways. Here's just a few. Something you found on the dressing table, or your finger, or an actual dowel, maybe made of wood, or one that you've made out of solid coils, perhaps. And then we moved on to tails. Manami's tail on her little mouse was made of a 2-strand plait, a beautiful tiny 2-strand plait. So we had to go at that. But your mouse tail could be a long, narrow cup coil. So this was made of a very wide strip and then pushed with a skewer to make it long and thin. But a tail could also be a tendril, perhaps, like this little chap's got. And this one. And you can wrap a tail around something, of course. In this case, around a wheat stalk. But the easiest way to make a tail, of course, is a simple open coil, just one strip. So especially if you're going to make a tiny, tiny mouse, perhaps the tail would just be one strip. And then finally, we talked about using bendy bandaging for your tail, because then you can shape it into any shape you like. So we had a go at bendy bandaging too, which was quite fun. And so, Manami's mouse threw up such a lot to talk about. And I'm very grateful to her, and also to all the lovely people who came, and their valuable input was really a super meeting, and already have suggestions for what to do for the next one, which should be great.